Hello, it's Helen from Journal with Purpose and welcome to my latest video. Today I'm going to be sharing a quick video on one of my favourite ways to kind of break down that blank page and create some writing spots in your journal. And I'm going to be basing it roughly on layout number 34 in my new book, so that's page 47. So I'm going to be using this kind of idea but changing it around a little bit, and I'm going to be using mine to complete an end of month review. And this is one of the ones that I've had some comments asking me to do tutorials on, so I'm very happy to be sharing that. The journal that I'm going to be using is this A5 dotted journal from London Gifties, and as always I will try to remember to link everything that I use in the description down below. I thought I would share this one really quickly as well. This page I've just created as part of my latest Patreon exclusive tutorial. I had a lot of fun with that. The first thing I'm going to want to do is mask off some areas on my pages. So I've already cut out the shapes that I want to use, and I just had a spare Rhodia pad. This was actually grid paper, so I thought that would be perfect for this. And so I've used a compass to draw 2 circles, and I've also cut out some rectangles. And I'm going to be using some really thin washi tape, and I'm going to be folding it over to kind of turn it into double-sided sticky tape, but we want something that's not going to stick too much to our journal pages, because we want to make sure that when we peel this off at the end that hopefully we're not damaging any of the paper underneath. So I find these skinny washi tapes really good because they tend to be not too sticky, kind of quite low tack. So I'm just trying to press that down so it's kind of roughly central up there, but I'm not worried about it being precise. And then I'm going to add my rectangle down below. I'm always looking for easy ways to create writing spots in my journal. Even now, after all this time, I find the 2 blank pages can be quite intimidating to look at, particularly if you haven't got lots of time on your hands, but you do want to add some creative journaling on your pages. So anything I can do that's going to be nice and quick and break up those pages is always going to be something that I look for. And what I tend to do with these pieces of paper that I cut out is I'll very often keep them, just tuck them in a little pocket or something somewhere, perhaps at the back of my journal, so that if I want to create a similar layout or even do one just with rectangles or with circles, that I've still got those pieces of paper that I can use again. I also wanted to say a quick hello while I'm here to everybody who's joined me. I've seen that my followers have gone up, and that was off the back of the Creative Retreat Live hosted by Peggy Dean. So hello to everybody who's come over and joined me from there. I just had so much fun doing that, being part of the whole thing. In fact, while I'm filming this, the retreat is still ongoing. And it's been so many wonderful classes and teachers, and a lovely chance to connect with so many people from around the world. It's been an absolute joyful part of this month. Okay, so now I've got those down, I'm going to start doing some stenciling. And the stencil I'm going to use is this one, and I believe it was called Bubbles. And again, if I can find it, I will try and leave it linked down below, but absolutely any stencil would of course be fine for this. And I'm going to try and protect my pages a little bit underneath. So I've got some scrap paper here, I'm just going to pop under. And the ink pads that I'm going to be using are the Ranger Distress Oxide, and I'm not actually going to be adding any water to get that oxide effect, but one of the things I do find with these over the regular Distress inks is that I don't have so many problems with them seeping through the pages. And this journal's got pretty thick paper anyway, but I can usually use these in journals with quite thin paper without them bleeding through, whereas some of those regular Distress inks really do tend to go through right through my pages. So I'm going to be using the colours Broken China and Shaded Lilac. I thought it'd be nice to have kind of two blue colours together. I've done this before with greens, hot pinks, all sorts, so it's definitely a chance to have a look at your favourite coloured ink pads, and I'm using some ink blending tools. And I'm going to start off by, my stencil's not going to quite cover the page, so I'm just at least going to try and make it roughly central, so that if I've got a border around the outside, that's fine, but at least it hopefully lines up a little bit. And I'm going to use this and just press it through the stencil, and I'm holding it down, say, as kind of as neatly as I can. But I'm not going to worry too much, and some of those little bits of paper might slip slightly underneath, but we should still get a really good print come through and hopefully have some lovely writing spots at the end. So I'm going to keep doing this all over my pages, but just alternate the colour that I'm using. Okay, that's the stenciling part now all done. Really quick and easy, and you could just leave it there, but I've decided I want to add something else whilst I've still got those masked elements on there. I thought it would be nice to add a little bit of stamping, and again I want it to be coming just over the masked element and onto the page. So I'm going to be using some of my floral stamps from my range with London Gifties. Again, any kind of stamps would work really well with this. So I'm just going to have a quick look at, I think they'd work really well placement. I'm just trying to check how much space I'm going to have on my page. So I might alternate between those two different stamps. And I'm going to mount them onto this acrylic block. And I'm going to be using some black StazOn ink. So I want most of this to be on the page itself, but I thought it'd be quite nice if just we lose a little bit of it where it goes on top of the masked element. If you had more space around these, if you only did a one on both sides, you could of course add lots of stamping around the outside, and I think that would look really nice too. So I'm going to pop that up there. I'm having to press quite firmly. I still don't know if I'll get an entirely perfect print because my journal's getting quite thick and bulky now. It gives me some problems with stamping, and in fact that one's hardly come through at all, which could be my black ink pad, but I'm going to give it another go. One of the good things with these plastic stamps and acrylic blocks is that you can look through them to be able to line things up. It may not be perfect, but I'm going to give it another go. Okay, that's come out much better this time. I think my black ink pad is starting to run quite low on ink, and I have had it for about 2 years now, so I think it might be time to invest in another one. Okay, and I think I'm going to add then perhaps one down here as well. And then I'm going to use the other stamp to add some decoration on these two. I always enjoy looking through my supplies and trying to find lots of different ways to use them. I find it so satisfying. So if I can use my stencils, ink pads and stamps in lots of different ways, that makes me just really happy. I might have this one coming out just over the top corner of that box there. And then add one coming down here as well. If you do decide to try out this kind of masking technique in your journals and you're on Instagram, please do tag me in. I'm at Journal with Purpose over there. I always love seeing how people have picked up some ideas and then use them in their journals, and it's nearly always with different supplies, and I just find that so interesting to see how other people's pages turn out. Now for me, this is one of the fun bits. I absolutely love peeling these away. So I'm just going to really gently just pick up where that washi tape is. And this is what I was hoping for, is these kind of beautiful clear shapes underneath. Okay, so I'm really happy with how that's looking, and I think the final thing I might do to bring out these frames a little bit stronger is I'm going to use my black Muji gel pen to actually draw in these outside lines now for the frame. As always, I'm not worried about this being too neat or precise, and in fact I was even tempted to do kind of 2 squiggly lines around the border, so then it really wouldn't matter at all. But because I want to make sure that I've still got a fair bit of journaling space, I don't want to take up too much space with my frame. I'm hoping you can't hear my little dog Barney snoring in the background. He's really letting out some loud noises at the moment. I don't suppose it'll pick up, but it's very funny. For a little dog, he does know how to make some loud noises. Okay, so I've got that circle there. I'm going to do the same now with the rectangle shapes as well. And you certainly don't need to add these frames. I just quite like how bold it makes them look against that stenciled background. Now that all of that is done, I'm going to add my headings. You could of course use any headings that you like, but because I want to use mine for an end of month review, I'm going to be using those kinds of headings. So I'm going to start off with summary, because I just want to write kind of a little bit about how February was for me, and that could be anything from work, personal, just a few lines about the month. And this is pretty much my favourite brush pen, so it's the Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen with a firm nib. And for this box, I'm going to ask myself the question of what went well. And then I think for here, I'm going to do what could be improved and then aims for next month. I changed the heading on this one slightly to what could be better rather than what could be improved, and the only reason for that is I could see I was running out of space, but I wanted to try and keep that heading to the one line. So now I'm just going to draw a couple of lines under each of the headings. And I really enjoy taking a little bit of time at the end of each month to just reflect on kind of everything that's been going on. I think it's when you're just dealing with things day to day, it's hard to get kind of a full picture of it because you're just too kind of consumed with whatever's happening that day. So I try and then spend a bit of time looking back through my journal entries, my bullet journal pages, and getting a more kind of honest and balanced feel for how the month really was. So I'm just going to take a few moments now to fill out those boxes with my thoughts. That's my journal writing now all added. So that's my quick summary, and then things I felt went well were my free journaling workshop, which has finally finished and been released. Hopefully you've seen the announcement for that here on YouTube. If not, look back 1 or 2 videos possibly, and I've got the announcement there for that and how you can access it. And that's been something that's been on my mind and my to-do list for far too long, so I'm really pleased that's done. The online creative retreat with Peggy Dean, as I've mentioned earlier, just a wonderful experience, and I've had lovely growth in my blog with lots of new subscribers, and that's something I'm really keen to keep working on, is offering valuable resources for journaling through my blog, especially as social media can be so hit and miss with people seeing what you're up to and being able to just share things. So really happy with that. What could be better? Skillshare. I haven't released a new class since October. There's a million reasons for that, but it's something I really want to get back in the swing of doing. I've got lots of ideas for classes I want to release, but if And I've got quite a few classes over there already, I think 8 or 9. I'm not even sure, it's so long since I've logged on to check. If you have a particular class you would love me to film for Skillshare, please do let me know. I have lots of ideas. I'm determined that I'm going to get something at least done or nearly done by the end of March. Healthy habits, an ongoing journey, sleep, though it's now getting much better thankfully, and then I've written my aims for next month. So it's a really quick and easy journal spread to put together, but a lovely way hopefully to be able to reflect on your month and just think about kind of what your intentions for the following month are. As always, I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's joined me over on Patreon. I appreciate you so much. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you're doing really well. I look forward to speaking with you really soon in my next video.